I've learned anything from personal experience, it's that if you can't hear and properly follow the precise instructions from the voices in your head, consequences can be dire. That's why I always use active noise-canceling headphones. So I've been traveling a lot this year, and I got a pair of these Mixcder E9 headphones, and I really didn't understand how cool noise-canceling headphones were until I started using them, and I wanted to do just kind of a quick video on the technology behind these, because a lot of it actually kind of coincides with some information that you might learn when you kind of get into audio recording and stuff like that. So basically the way that these work, and specifically how they work on like an airplane, like say if you're taking any international flight or a flight longer than like 2 hours, you definitely need a pair of noise canceling headphones, because what happens is it makes a noise profile of the surrounding ambient noise and just erases it. So some people think they're just kind of like muffling noise outside, but really what they're doing is they're actively canceling it out. And I think one way to actually understand that a little bit better is to think of it in the terms of like audio recording, right? So like any kind of noise is really just fluctuations in air pressure around you. So what you're looking at right now is the actual audio wavelength of the microphone that is recording me in this video. Now what you can do is you can flip the phase of this. Now there are phaser pedals that don't exactly do this, but they kind of relate to this. But basically the phase is it when if you really zoom in on this wavelength, you'll see that it's really just kind of, like I said, fluctuations up and down in air pressure. What happens when you switch the phase or flip it is the peak of one wave becomes the valley, and that actually cancels it out. So when I drag this audio waveform into another track and enable a flipped phase of the same thing, so what happened right there, it's almost it seems counterintuitive that you're doubling something, but because the phase is flipped, it cancels out the sound entirely, right? Now, one thing that I personally had a lot of issues with was at an old house I lived in when I first started getting into like recording stuff. The electricity was really pretty poor. So every time I tried recording an electric guitar through like a tube amp, there'd be like a lot of noise. And that's when I discovered a Waves X-Noise plugin. And what it does is it makes a noise profile. You learn with the plugin what the sound of the noise is when there's no signal going in, and then you can actually take away that sound. And the cool thing is that's what these active noise cancellings essentially do with any kind of environment that you're in. It's almost like having like a Waves X-Noise plugin or phase shift into a microphone that is like actually teaching the electronics of the headphone the noise profile of your location, flipping the phase of it, and then just kind of like pumping silence in through the headphones. So the active noise canceling ones, you can actually turn the active noise canceling on, and then you're hearing essentially silence if you just need some peace and quiet, or you can just use it as a silence bed to pump your music in on top of. So I'm going to try to demonstrate this by making this amp as loud as I can with some really weird noise artifacts going on, just to kind of use that X-Noise plugin, right? So this is just kind of like a sample of just the noise. And then if I have a weak signal on top of that, you can play the signal over the noise. I've used these specifically on airplanes, noisy like kind of like coffee shops, restaurants, stuff like that if you're just trying to get work done. Even in extreme situations, had to share a room with a guy when I was on the road and he was snoring like intensely, pop these on and actually went to sleep. Another thing that you might experience phase with is if you're recording any kind of sound source in stereo, right? So for most of the acoustic guitar stuff that I have recorded, I'll put two microphones on here. So the sound from the acoustic guitar is hitting the microphones at slightly different locations. And sometimes you have a very similar wavelength, but it's never going to be perfectly in phase. So you have to kind of position the microphones to get it in phase, or you might kind of end up with these like weird artifacts and stuff too. So it's just another way that phase is actually kind of an important concept in music, along with just audio in general. So again, these are the Mixcder E9s. They come with a cool case, and specifically the great thing about these is they come with an 1/8 inch corded jack that you can plug into like one of the screens on an airplane in front of you, so you can kind of like watch the fabulous in-flight entertainment if you want to with these on, which makes a big difference. So anyways, I like these a lot. If you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.